Shot of Lady Liberty in Liberty Harbor, just outside of the island of Manhattan. Kevin McCullough, glad you're with us. AFA Today on AFR Talk. And a reminder, if there is something that AFR Talk in some way has contributed to your life, maybe we've made you more aware of the issues that you face on a day-to-day basis. Maybe we've helped you obliterate confusion. Maybe we've helped you amplify truth in your life. Maybe there's been some degree of understanding the culture war more importantly or more strategically than you understood it before. If we've produced something good in your life, we'd love to hear about it. And right now we've got a place where you can call and tell us your stories. 877-876-8893, 877-876-8893. And we would like to use these stories during our time of celebration at Share-a-thon. Who knows, maybe you will hear yourself on the air telling your story. But if you've got a compelling way that God has used this particular broadcast entity to help you in regards to that, we'd love to hear about it. 877-876-8893, 877-876-8893. Kevin McCullough, glad you're with us. 888-589-8840. We're talking about a kind of a cacophony of news stories. The Ukraine is a trading partner to Russia, but not to the U.S., and yet our plan was, hey, let's bail them out. Not sure how well that worked. Your thoughts on that? We'll take your calls. But we're also talking about this very tragic reality that is starting to pop up on front pages everywhere, that even people that have followed the Obamacare plan to the T are getting bills of hundreds of thousands of dollars that they are incapable of addressing. And there's a very just heartsick one that FoxNews.com had on the front page that I told you about, Larry Basic in Nevada. Interested in your thoughts, 888-589-8840. Let's go back to the insurance discussion because Stewart is calling from Louisiana and wants to weigh in on that. Hi, Stewart. Welcome.
Hey, good morning or good evening. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah. I got two questions about Mr. Basic, the man that had the problem with his claim.
Yeah.
He did everything right that he was supposed to do on Obamacare. Is that what you said?
That's what the story reported.
Okay. Did he pay his premiums continuously, or did he pay them up for the year?
He had only been enrolled 1 month before this before it hit, so he did pay. He did pay that first month.
Right. Okay, but insurance premiums have to be paid every month, or 6 months, or by the year. If there's a problem in that claim, it's not Obamacare's fault because, like you said, he did everything right. Then it's an insurance company issue. I've been in the insurance business for 28 years. You have to have a consideration, which is the premium, and then you have a contract. All an exchange is just a group where you can get multiple
Stewart,
people.
he can't even get confirmation. He can't even get Stewart, he can't even get confirmation from the company that he's actually enrolled.
Exactly.
He sent his premium in on faith.
Obamacare problem. That is a insurance company problem. It happens every day. They're denying claims as me and you speak. They've been denying them for the last 15 or 20 years. I've been in the insurance business for 28 years.
Right.
There is a reason they're doing that, and it's not Obamacare's fault. So
we were told, though,
is just another way to keep confusion and to keep ill manner out there to try to put the scare tactics into people. And I just want you to know that some people are not dumb to your tactics. Have a good day.
Well, that wasn't very nice. You just going to leave? You're going to take your ball and go home? Give me the last word? All right, fine. Stewart, here's the problem. Mr. Basic was told he could keep his doctor and his plan. He wasn't allowed to keep his doctor and his plan. He was told that it would cost on average $2,500 less a year. His premium went up. The idea was that he was going to be covered for major medical issues. He went through every last detail, every last dot, crossed T, dotted I that the situation asked of him. And he is not, no one is taking responsibility for it. The insurance company, you're saying it's all on them? There's a degree of, even if it is all on them, it's still the Affordable Care Act's issue, because what the promises in this plan were have not been delivered. The deliverables have not been delivered. And there's several of these stories hitting front page news. Now, those of you that are sycophants to the Obamacare solution, good on you. But the program's busted, and it's not going to continue, because people are seeing this and then they're saying, wasn't exactly easy for me. And Stewart, one last thing. And this is why you really should stick around until the conversation's over, because it just ends up not being fair for you at all. You can say scare tactics. You can get angry. You can hang up. You can do all of that stuff. That's all fine. Free country, free will. Get to do what you want to do. I run a small company. I have an individual plan with my family. We were told that the plan, which we use to deliver our youngest ankle biter, who's now 18 months, we used that plan to get through his birth process, and we went to the doctor last Friday I was at the doctor. The plan that we used met our needs and was $800 cheaper than what we pay for now. And what we pay for now, the only reason that we're getting what we get now, and we have to pay $800 a month for it. That's $800 that I didn't get a raise for. I didn't find some way to pull that down out of the sky and say, here's how I'll take care of that. But I've got, a wife of childbearing age. I've got 2 young kids. I'm a very active young adult man that leads a very, very stressed life. There's a lot of reasons why our insurance price may be what it is, but it was $800 less on our old plan. That suited our needs perfectly. And the reason that it no longer suited my needs perfectly is because, the president feels like I need to have coverage included in my plan so that I can get an abortion for me. Not for my wife, not for other, I guess it's in there for her too, but so that I can get one. So that when I'm in my elderly stages of life, I still have the option to get pediatric dental for any kids that I might have. You can call it scaremongering, Stewart. That's totally, I'm not here to tell you how to think or how to talk about it. But I am obliterating the confusion about this, because these are things that people like you don't tell people. These are things that people like you will go to their grave before they tell people. And at the end of the day, I think that telling the truth is really important. And the truth is, Obamacare was not necessary. The changes that it made, to the degree that it made them, and all of the other junk that has been added to it, trying to force people's conscience on religious issues to be other than what they are, this has been an absolute disaster. And now that it is dead, it will go away, whether Juan Williams likes to think it will or not. That's going to be beside the point. He's not the American people. But when this hardship exemption is used repeatedly, there's not going to be money to fund the plan. And if you don't have funding for it, then you're not going to be able to do anything with it. 888-589-8840. But, Stewart, stick around next time. I'm a nice guy. We can actually have a conversation. Even if we don't agree, we can have a conversation. Mitchell in Alabama, welcome. You're up next with Kevin McCullough. So glad you're with us.
Hello?
Mitchell, are you there in Alabama?
I am here. Yes,
hey,
sir.
Mitchell,
Thank
welcome.
You, Mr. Kevin, for taking my call. I
Sure
appreciate you and your show and all that you do to help obliterate confusion out here in this confusing world.
Well, you're welcome. What can I do for you?
Well, I'm in the process now of trying to find insurance. I had good insurance through Blue Cross Blue Shield, and my wife passed away a year ago, and Kimberly Clark agreed to pay my insurance for a year. Well, this March, when I got my new premiums, my insurance had went from $405 a month to $950 a month, which I can't afford. So everyone I'm trying to talk to see about trying to find insurance, something that I can afford, they all want me to go on the Obamacare. And like I told them, I don't want any part of the government. I don't want them in my life. I don't want their subsidies. I've worked all my life. I work to pay my bills. I just want insurance that's affordable. I've got a plan now, but I took off today to go to my doctor and my hospital to see if this insurance would be any good there, and come to find out it's not any good. So I've been lied to about this policy, and I'm just trying to find some insurance that I can afford, so when I do have a heart attack from all of this that's going on, I know I can go to the doctor or the hospital, and my bills are going to be paid.
Yeah, and that's hard, Mitchell, because there's so much unknown that it's not even possible to be sure of anything. Let me ask you: did you try any of the medical expense sharing ministries like MediShare? Have you looked into them?
Yes, sir. I called and talked with them and thought I had got on with them, but because of my addiction to tobacco, I didn't know that you had to be, off of that for a year. So all I can do is try and get off of my addiction to nicotine and call them back in a year. But, I definitely tried to get on with them, but I didn't know they had that stipulation.
Yeah, no, there's a couple of things like that with them. But if you could get your addiction under control and not need that anymore and be able to get off of that, I think they would be able to bless you in a real way, Mitchell. I've seen a lot of people's lives been helped by and there's three major groups. MediShare is just one of them, but there are two other, and they're basically all the same Christian medical sharing ministries that try to help families in your circumstance. Look, Stewart can say to Mr. Mitchell, "Oh, you're just not telling the truth here. Your insurance didn't go up $500 a month." Is Mitchell telling me the God's honest truth? I would hope. But friends, I hear dozens and dozens and dozens of these stories. I don't think that everybody in the country is in on the conspiracy. But those that support the Affordable Care Act, they seem to struggle with the idea that this thing isn't, utopia. And that's hard. That's hard to deal with. You gotta be honest. You gotta be able to see things through crystal clear eyes. And the truth is, this hasn't worked out. Not nearly the way people thought it was going to. There's a couple people that want to still weigh in on the Ukraine. Let me go back to some of those calls. Peter in Oklahoma, you're up next with Kevin McCullough. Hi.
Hi, Kevin. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for your call.
I just want to say, just as a background on me, I would consider myself a small government conservative Christian, and I'm also an Army captain, married to an Army captain.
Thank you for your service.
Oh, no problem. I really appreciate your show, and I generally agree with you. But there are a couple things I want to call you out on, if you'll
go ahead
with me. One, in the same broadcast, you called out Juan Williams for saying, "Oh, you're just quoting right-wing blogs," and then you told the caller when he was giving you numbers for war dead that he was just quoting left-wing blogs. And I mean, the American Red Cross does have the numbers of civilians killed in Iraq in the hundreds of thousands, and I wouldn't consider that just a left-wing website. So I'd be cautious on using that.
The American Red Cross may or may not have accurate numbers. I'm personally not familiar with what we have reported as the official dead. So it's just something. But I do know, and I'm not making this up, that Code Pink and a lot of these groups are out there, and they've used heavily inflated numbers. That when I've actually gone and spoken with officials, and I've even interviewed Iraqi officials and Afghani officials, that even their government services don't report nearly the numbers of deaths that some of these World Aid groups do. So your point is well taken. I will become more informed on that. I should not immediately dismiss one without some evidence of the other. I just didn't have time to go into all that I just told you on that last caller, and I should have.
Right, and I understand. And I spent 27 months over there, and my wife has spent a year there, and then time in Afghanistan as well. And it's just
wow. Our nation owes you tremendously.
Our nation paid us very well for our service, and I think that I'm lucky to live in a time where our nation has not only been very grateful in its treatment of the services, but they have compensated the forces very, very well, far better than most people acknowledge. And so we lived in. I'm again very fortunate to live in a time when our nation has been funding the services very well. But I guess when it comes to Crimea, that's the real thing I wanted to focus on.
Sure, go ahead.
I wonder where our moral authority comes to, and I'm not just talking about other invasions that we've had where the justification was a little hazy. I'm thinking more on the lines of our leaders specifically, and I wonder how we can, when looking at a president who, when he served in state legislatures and then in the U.S. legislature, he advocated for bills that would have allowed abortion providers to let children starve to death if they were born alive.
He didn't just advocate for them; he voted in favor of them four times on the record.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And at the same time, this ex-KGB agent, who we all think is a bit of a thug in Russia, is trying to protect children in Russia from being exposed to homosexual propaganda. It seems like lately the moral authority is more in Russia, and that's so weird for me to think of it that way because I grew up with communism evil and pray for the Christians in communist countries, and now it seems like it's almost a more favorable environment for a Christian in Russia. It seems like we're swinging in this direction where...
Well, one of the things we haven't even discussed on this show, and I do, the music means we're just about out of time, but Peter, thank you for your call. One of the things we haven't discussed is that you have, right now, in Russia, Christians both in the Ukraine and in Russia that across that international line are praying for one another and pulling and hoping for a good outcome there. And I think that the American Christian community could join them in those prayers. Thank you for your service, Peter. Thank you for your love of country and for your willingness to hold me accountable. Kevin McCullough, glad you're with us on AFA Today on AFR Talk. Brian Fisher, Focal Point, next.